guys, it's Lindsay again here for my 33-week pregnancy update. I am filming this right now and it is so incredibly hot. I am like sweating here and oh great, they've just started taking the tractor around. Oh no. They came to cut the hay the second time. Anyway, I am going to film this and then close all the windows and turn on the dehumidifier because I am like sweating so much. Anyway, I hope that's not distracting. Maybe I will close. I'm going to close the door right now. Okay, I think that's better. So anyways, before I have the sound of the dehumidifier, which is what I was worried about, I'm going to film this. Instead, we have the sound of the tractor. Oh boy. So basically, this week, as a continuation from what I had said last week, just felt so incredibly fatigued. And I actually had an appointment on Thursday with my OB where the doctor said that basically everything looks good. The only thing is that baby is of course breached. And he had also told me to keep taking the medicine that I was prescribed like 5 weeks ago, which I didn't realize I was supposed to be continuing taking that. Because remember, if I had like the shortened cervix that particular appointment, and I had forgotten to ask if I needed to continue taking it. And then when I talked to my family doctor, she had said, oh yeah, stop taking it. So basically back on that, I guess until my 36-week appointment really, because I think at that point I'm not really gonna keep taking things to stop the cervix from shortening, and some magnesium. And the curious thing actually is my magnesium box says that it's for like cramps and tiredness. And actually, I have to say the last few days, I think it's like kicked in, because before I was taking that, I was like getting so incredibly winded and exhausted just by like taking out the garbage or watering the plants. And I don't have that many plants. Whereas now I've noticed the last few days, like I am actually able to continue taking out the garbage, bringing upstairs like any drinks for the day, and watering the plants. And so I think it is helping, which is awesome. Okay, so that was kind of like a little introduction. Basically, that was the number one symptom of the week for sure, is fatigue. And then just to go a little bit day by day, I did actually have a few days this week where I did feel motivated trying to get stuff done, because as I had mentioned in my last update, why the previous one had been late was because I had like this insanely long to-do list, and now this week I had started to work it down a bit more, at least in the last few days. But it just started to get so incredibly hot again that like you still have to pretty much get everything done in the morning. And there's only so much you can get done in the morning. So on Wednesday last week, I turned 33 weeks, right? And that day I actually had like a stuffed nose, runny nose. Who knows why? I don't really know. I did have some Braxton Hicks contractions that day, a little bit of a backache and fatigue. But like honestly, the backache that I bring up, that I have brought up even in the last few updates, is nothing like the one that I had more in the second trimester, honestly. I don't know, it was more intense than it like carried on longer. This one, it's like, I'll get it maybe while I wake up, but I'll kind of stretch my back. I'll like do some stretches kind of against the counter as my like espresso is pouring in the morning, and it goes away so quickly. And then obviously the fatigue. The next day, I was feeling like forgetful and confused, and that was actually the day that I had my appointment. And that day I actually felt motivated and fatigued. So that is a bit frustrating when you're feeling motivated yet also really tired. So I can't actually remember at this point, but I'm pretty sure the motivation came in the morning and the fatigue came in the afternoon. My husband had just said, he's like, you seem a bit lost, like, recently. And I'm like, I think it's that pregnancy brain that's finally struck. So that day too, I had a few Braxton Hicks contractions and a stuffed nose again. And that day actually, I felt really, really short of breath, like really bad in the morning. And I think that was where the why can't I say that right now? Motivation came from, because I kind of like shifted what I would typically do in the morning and did it later on. So I decided to do a bunch of stuff on the computer that morning, figure out mat leave stuff and like my citizenship stuff to become an Italian citizen, because that was supposed to happen at like the end of March, and obviously it got cancelled because we were under lockdown. So only now they were able to give me an appointment for like the middle of October. For the middle of October. Oh boy, I think the heat is getting to my head today. And anyway, so I was just very, very winded, so short of breath that morning. And I just was finding I was getting so exhausted by doing so little. Like, I have to sit down so often, which, you know, on the one hand is good because it makes sure that I relax, but on the other, it's like, it's really hard when you feel that tired. And then on 33 weeks and 2 days, which was the Friday, I actually had, like, and I'm not sure if this is that, like, sciatica pain, but, like, I had pain in my, like, left butt cheek. But isn't the sciatica, doesn't it go down your leg? Because, like, honestly, it didn't really seem to go that much down my leg. Like, but depending on how my leg was, like, positioned, like, if I was going to, like, turn, then I would feel it and it would be painful. And I would go, like, oh, ow. So that was kind of weird. Also, I have had a few times in the last several weeks where I will wake up in the middle of the night and, like, stretch my legs. And, like, I almost get a cramp. This is, like, one of those things that, like, I never remember to even write in my app. But because I got a legit leg cramp this day, I'm mentioning now that I've had ones that are, like, almost there. But that day, I, like, seriously got a leg cramp when I stretched my left leg. So that wasn't fun. Luckily, it passed quickly. And that day, I was feeling emotional and irritated and, of course, exhausted again. On Saturday, again, same exact feelings of the one that I just said, as well as feeling, I had like a bit of a stomach ache, like upset stomach with diarrhea that day. I am sure it's due from the heat. It's just, it started to get so incredibly hot again, and it really messes up my stomach. And then on Sunday, this too, like, I finally remembered to actually write it in my app because I keep forgetting. And I have become, through the course of my pregnancy, so incredibly slow at eating. Oh my God, like, I was slow before, most of the time because I'm, like, chatting, but unbelievable. Like, my husband will finish his pasta and I've still got, like, 3/4 of the bowl left. And, like, my husband asked me, like, it's like, but have you, like, started to go off of pasta or something? Like, because, especially depending on what kind of pasta, like, I don't know, I seem to be having issues with, like, the ragu recently. But if it's, like, one that I don't make very often, that's not the case. And oh my God, I just remembered I need to put the pasta sauce that I made on Monday in the freezer before it goes bad. Oops. side note. But so if it's something that I make like randomly, like not all the time, like the one that I was just mentioning, it goes down totally easily. But it's like if it's one that is more common, like a ragu or like even a pesto, really, I just seem to eat it. I have trouble eating it. I don't know. And so, I mean, I hope that I'm not going off pasta, because that's not really a great thing to happen when you live in Italy. But with my husband doing different hours right now for the next few weeks, I'm just going to be eating sandwiches. So maybe that'll give my body a chance to kind of like pasta again. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Anyway, that day on the Sunday, I was feeling very mellow, very fatigued, calm. I just didn't really want to do anything. And that was fine because honestly, it was so hot. So then on that day, I believe my husband and I refilled the kiddie pool. And we both jumped in, and he loved it. And my mother-in-law was laughing at us. And anyway, but she thought it looked kind of fun. And my husband's aunt came over, and she said that, you know, I don't know, 40 whatever years ago, when she was pregnant with her son, and he was due at the beginning of October, she would like cry every night, every day, because she was just so hot in that summer, right? And so it is nice to have people be able to commiserate with me and be like, oh, you poor thing, like you will feel the heat 3 times more than everyone else. Like also my mother-in-law, because my husband, he was born, of course, at the beginning of August. And his brother was born like the beginning of October, 40 odd years ago. And so they like know that I'm suffering even more probably than them, because everyone's hot these days. But for 3rd trimester pregnancy, it's rough. Anyway, so, and also, I think I've mentioned in previous updates, like, my mom as well knows exactly how I'm feeling. So, anyway, that's the good thing, is that a lot of people are, like, feeling my pain. They remember. So then on Monday, again, I felt so full. After breakfast, I felt sick. And I swear some of this is probably also due to the fact that it's just so hot. It had gone away for a few days, and then on Monday, 33 weeks and 5 days, came back. And that day I had real issues even eating lunch. Like it was just so hot. Like 35, 36 degrees that day, and yesterday and today. So I was kind of over the table. I was going like this, like, oh, when I was trying to eat, like, just not good. And I felt like weepy that day, lethargic, nauseous, obviously. And I had a little bit of a backache when I woke up. I wasn't sleeping well because it was so hot. So, like, disrupted sleep in the last few days. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily been, like, pregnancy related as much as, like, my God, heat related. Because we had a bit of a reprieve last week. But this week, it's basically like 2 weeks ago, where the humidity's kicked up again. It's, like, extremely hot. And, it's just wicked. So yesterday, 33 weeks and 6 days, I think that actually the humidity was so high yesterday, who knows how high, like it actually brought on this like achy feeling in specifically in my legs actually, because I had to go do groceries after lunch yesterday, and I started to feel ill, like to the point where I did what I'm going to do in a second, closed all the windows, rolled the shades way down, and turned on the dehumidifier. Because I said, you know what, I'm like gonna, that helps. Like it makes a difference, man. Where you can still have like 28.5 degrees in the room or higher and not feel so hot as maybe in another room, for example, where we closed the bedroom windows a few weeks ago, and where we kept the bedroom windows open, closed the doors, and like it would be 27.5 degrees in there. It would feel so much worse than when it was like in here 29 degrees. And so I did that, and I told myself, like, sit down and drink this, like, you know, big glass of water and finish it all before you go to the grocery store. So I finished it all, and because I was not really dizzy, but I was kind of close from feeling like that, and I was like, you're gonna be fine because you're gonna be in the air conditioning, but like also I have to drive there first, so I want to make sure that I was like okay. And then I kind of gathered enough of a sense that I was kind of like okay. And yeah, it was weird. Like, I honestly felt achy for the rest of the day, and I think it must be the humidity, because you always hear about people saying like, oh, you've got like, you know, the bones and stuff, like humidity, which is usually like a thing that old people say. But anyway, I was totally feeling that yesterday. And again, I think this is heat related. I had like diarrhea yesterday, nausea. I swear that's heat related too. Shortness of breath. So in addition to pregnancy, also humidity related, because it gets so humid here. Like honestly, you just can't. You have trouble breathing, right? Like I literally, when I was doing my kind of morning chores, basically, I was like having trouble taking a breath, and just so incredibly sweaty. Like I sprayed some of my plants with like insecticide, fungicide stuff, and like I had taken a break briefly, I think, before doing that. So I literally did that. I sprayed plants, and then I came inside and I had like drenched and I didn't sweat suddenly. I was like, what? Stuffy nose again, and I do believe it is because they cut the hay yesterday. So now today they are collecting it, I guess. I don't know if they're making the bales yet or what, but they are doing something with it. Then itchy fingers too, like because this happens to me in the summer with extreme heat, and in the winter with like cold weather, where my fingers just get really, really dry, and obviously also my hands. But right now I've got my fingers that are super dry, and obviously also itchy. And I think what comes into it too is, you know, whenever you go into a store, you have to put on the hand sanitizer, right? And I mean, that stuff dries out your hands like crazy. So I'm sure that that's got something to do with it, heat and the disinfectant gels. And yeah, that was basically my week in a nutshell. So it's been pretty... It's the one thing that I'll say is, even though it's super hot, at least in the evening, you have some relief. Less the last couple days, unfortunately. But if you go out on like the balcony in the evening, you're able to get like some cool air. Whereas in like a couple weeks ago, you were not. You never felt fresh air. Not in the morning, not in the night time, like never. But honestly, the last couple nights we've been like sweating also in bed, like just because the house is hot. So even if you have all the windows closed, like the sun's still beating in there all day, and it's just been nasty. It's been really nasty to try and deal with this all normally, and then just kind of in addition where you've got all the third trimester stuff going on. So here we go. We've reached the point where I'll show you the bump shot now. Okay, so 33-week bump shot. There we go. All right, guys, so thank you for watching this week's update, and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are new and want to follow along on my pregnancy journey. Make sure you have got your bell notification turned on, and I will see you in the next update. Bye.